All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television show in the history of the Western United States, especially the state of Wyoming. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing C.J. Bach's The Disappeared. This is book number 18 in his Joe Pickett Wyoming mystery series. If you followed my channel for any length of time, you know C.J. Bach is one of my favorite new mystery writers, and the Joe Pickett series is one of my favorite new mystery series. We've already read the first 17 books in the series and reviewed them here on the channel. We are to book number 18. So let's just show you all of I got in my massive library here, we've got all the Joe Pickett novels up here on the top shelf. And we've got some of his other novels also. But we're going to have a review. We're going to read every single one of them and review them on the channel. Joe Pickett. Let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration, so let's talk about this. It's good. It's got a nice Wyoming scene. This one of a truck and a dude in a truck. You know, the spine, the back. So the spine, if you noticed when I showed you all the books together, all the spines matched, and all the covers matched. So good job for the publisher for making a nice looking set of books for us here. And let's get right into it. Who is Joe Pickett? Well, he's a game warden in Wyoming, and he solves mysteries. And so far, he's solved 17 of them. This is the 18th one that's come his way. Now, Joe Pickett, the reason I love these books is not only because C.J. Bach just writes effortless prose. The storytelling is just spot on. The characterizations are on point. Everything about this series just speaks to me in so many ways. I grew up in a small town, a western small town, much like the landscape that Joe Pickett is doing his game wardening in, and it's just, I like everything about this. But Joe Pickett himself is a game warden. One of the reasons I also like this series is because we get to know Joe Pickett and his whole family, his 3 daughters. We've got, from book 1 all the way up to book 18, we've got to see his family go from little kids all the way to adults, and it's just cool. I like following not only Joe Pickett and his adventures, but also his family troubles, the family things that happen to him, and all of that. And his circle of friends in the Saddle Springs, Wyoming, where this place is set. So what happens here? This is sort of this book is kind of a commentary on a little bit of how California uses the resources of pretty much every state in the West to support their water supply, their electricity supply, and this is really a commentary kind of on how the do-gooders of California, God forbid they use the resources of California to support California, because that would be environmentally unfriendly to California. But doesn't matter if we pillage the resources from every state surrounding us, including Wyoming. And there's a big, huge, and I see this in Utah, where a lot of the water that is from Utah just gets we send it to California. A lot of our coal supply that we coal mine is sent to California. Well, it's not sent to California, it's sent to Utah power plants to supply power plant. The coal is mined in Utah, the power plant is in Utah, and every bit of the power goes to California. I mean, and Wyoming is a big supplier of everything California needs, and this is sort of a commentary on why does California get away with this stuff? Why do their resources never get stripped? Where does their landscape never just get ground under and turned into these massive, earth-destroying projects for their electricity and their water. And it's kind of like that. That's kind of a theme that's going through this book. However, it's also a murder mystery. Something mysterious is, we in the prologue, there's a character, Willie Fry, and he works at a sawmill. Now something mysterious, some dudes show up and they throw a bundle of something mysterious into the incinerator at this sawmill. And of course, Willie is like, well, that probably was a body, because then it starts to smell like a barbecue in the sawmill. Not only that, but down the road, we've got Miss Schmidt. Now, she's just kind of outside, and she can sort of smell this barbecue smell in the air. And as she's kind of wondering what's going on with that, a truck drives by and hits the neighbor's dog, and the dudes get out of the truck, and they're kind of like, well, let's just go, let's drive on, nobody will. And so she calls the police on the dog, and so the people that hit the dog and the people that threw the body in the incinerator are one and the same, right? Okay, so we've got this kind of thing going on. So that's the setup of the mystery. And we've also got a missing woman. There's a British businesswoman. She goes missing. She never returned from. She went on a high-end resort retreat sort of ranch that is run in Wyoming, where people can pretend to be like ranchers, for a week or two. And this is a place where Joe Pickett, the game warden, his 23-year-old daughter, actually works as a horse handler at this ranch. Well, anyway, this rich British woman goes missing, and the governor of the state of Wyoming wants Joe Pickett to find this lady, because they don't believe she's dead. They just think she's missing in the wilderness somewhere, because she was out on this dude ranch, went on a trip on the horse, never returned. They just think that she's probably out missing. In fact, they insist upon it. And they know that if this really rich British businesswoman goes missing for too long, it's going to cause an international incident, and the governor of Wyoming does not want that to happen. Now Joe Pickett and his daughter Sheridan, who worked at that ranch, are sort of like in this, solving this mystery together, which, if you followed these books all the way through, they've kind of Joe Pickett's three daughters, his oldest one is sort of the one that gravitated most towards Joe and his job as a game warden, and she's kind of followed him around a little bit on some of the mysteries that he's had to solve in his, and so now they truly get to work together on solving a mystery. And on top of that, there's Nate Romanowski, who is Joe Pickett's best friend, who is like this big Jack Reacher sort of get things done type of guy, like a kick-ass ex-army dude, who also raises falcons and flies falcons. He's a falconry guy, and if this book, you will never learn, if you wanted to learn everything you wanted to know about the falconry business and how different state laws have affected the falconry business and birds of prey, especially in Wyoming, you will get to know every intricate detail of that in this book. And it's quite fascinating how just the protection of the bald eagle versus what people can do with falconry versus what sort of game and wildlife bald eagles feed upon, and how to keep the balance of nature so bald eagles don't disappear, so people don't poach the bald eagles, and what happens with the falconry, and can we do falconry with bald eagles, and what kind of legislation is passed or not passed, and there was a great legislation a long time ago, and now the legislation's kind of shitty, and it's like decimated the bald eagle and the falconry industry, and all of this stuff. I mean, you will learn so much about it that'll just blow your mind. And I was fascinated by every word, because I was like, I didn't even know the government gave a shit about this. But I mean, they do. And not only that, but then you've got these massive, huge power plants that are cropping up in the small western towns, and these power plants are just whoosh. They're just so massive, and that also plays havoc with the birds of prey and the prey that they feed on and all this stuff. So anyway, we've got a lot of plot points. We got a lot of things boiling and stirring in this book. And it was really kind of cool to see how it all sort of fit together at the end, and how the mystery was solved, who the bad guys really were, and if any of our main characters get killed or if they all stay alive. Just a great addition to the Joe Pickett series. One of the best. I really like this one. Just a 10 out of 10. Most of these books are just 9s, 9.5s, 10s. This one's a 10. I really liked it. The Disappeared by C.J. Box.